This is Sophie Aldred with The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Hello, and welcome, fellow Whovians, to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. I'm your host, Paparazzo Dave Chapman, and we've got a great show for you today because we are reviewing a Big Finish audios, which is what people have asked us to do more of. We are reviewing the trial of the Valeyard, the follow-up to the trial of the Time Lord with the Sixth Doctor. This is going to be super exciting. We love Big Finish audios just in general. We love that they exist. We love all the amazing work that they do. And so we are happy when we get a chance to review one of their great shows. And of course, as always, I'm not here alone. We've got our wonderful producer here, Christian. Hey, Christian, how's it going?
Hey, gang. Welcome to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Yeah, I've been very excited about reviewing this particular one. I won't go into the details because I wanted to be part of my review, but let's just say I'm excited, so you probably get an idea what my review looks like. But yeah, I can't wait till we get started over there. And I do want to make this clear, and I apologize. Dan, if you're referring to Billy and such, they're right now working on it, the Kitchen Killers barbecue sauce, and let me go ahead and bring that up. You can just email kitchenkillers@gmail.com and get use TARDIS code for 10% off. So Dan, I apologize. I talked to Billy. Billy is aware of things. He should be writing everybody back, but if he hasn't written to you, I'm just letting you know right now. He's looking for a somebody who has a reduced pricing on shipping, because it doesn't seem there's a point that you're spending a lot of money on barbecue sauce and spending twice on the shipping. So he's still looking for that right now. So I know he's doing that. So I apologize for any inconvenience that people were trying to get the barbecue sauce, but we're still working on it. You can still get the barbecue sauce if you're in the area where we're going to be doing an Ancient City, and I'll explain more as we progress along the way. But I just wanted to make sure I address that to everybody. Thank you so much, and I apologize for the inconvenience, Dan.
All right, there we go. And also in our panel today, a duck. It's just a duck. There's no Tom there, just a duck.
There's something I want to say. There's a lot I want to say right now.
Is it duck? And then throw something at Tom?
When don't I want to?
Good point. Yeah, when do we not want to throw something at Tom? Hey, Tom, how's it going?
Tom speaketh. Let people know that you're alive.
I'm not dead.
Okay, move on. Let's go to the next thing, Dave.
Let's go to Sean. Sean!
There you go.
Once again, save us from Tom.
I had to follow up on the Monty Python reference. I just watched that the other day. So I'm doing well. I look forward to reviewing this episode. I have no objections, Your Honor. I'm glad to be here.
Excellent. And our last panelist today, and she'll start with the news here in a moment, but we've got Gadget. How's it going, Gadget?
Got cooler here in New York. That's the best thing, but our air quality sucks because of everything. But I also wanted to give a shout out, though, to the Bronx Anime Expo, Comic Con Expo that they had over the weekend here in the Bronx and everything. A lot of up-and-coming artists and everything, especially one called, if I can pronounce this right, Sesame Bezoe. Sherry's her first name, and I was her first sale She was an up-and-coming artist and everything. And some of her work is pretty cool. She had Mau Mau from Apothecary Diaries. And she had Lloyd and from Spy Family. So these are all her artwork. She even had, if I can pronounce it, Freyrin. I haven't seen that anime yet, but she even had that anime as well. So she's an up-and-coming artist. I would look out for her. This was her first event, first ever. And she can be found at this on Instagram and Twitter as well. And check her out. She does do commissions, but right now she's working on new projects and everything. As well as I'm going to give a shout out to Sharon and Daniel of Rogue Alliance, because the 501 was there as well. And if you guys know them, they are like the best and everything. They even teach classes on how to handle the lightsaber, and they go to all the events. They're there for like all the time. They put on shows for kids, everything. They go to the conventions. They are like the best of everything. And the coolest thing in here was the fact that I got to meet one of the artists, Nate Mendez. He actually drew this cover and everything, and that's his handle if you guys ever want to check him out and his artwork and everything. And yep, autographed it right there and stuff. It's a pretty good one. And then I bought from these guys before, and they're called BAM Comics, but I don't have theirs at the time because I put it away and everything. But they have beautiful like Studio Ghibli artwork, Cardcaptor Sakura, and other types of interesting things and stuff. And this is part of USS Osiris. They are a Bronx chapter for those of you of the Star Trek genre that would like to partake in anything like community events and go on missions to see Superman or anything. It's almost like a group community, like bringing together people who are looking for somebody just to talk to. It's basically like a self-awareness helpful. I had some pictures I showed Christian and the thing, but I don't know if we made them in time for that and everything. But my best two finds were this company. I can never pronounce the name and everything, but it's Life, the way they write it, because of my dyslexia. I'm so sorry, guys. But they had Mau Mau, like with the ears and the cat and everything. And then another one, I didn't get their card, but I did talk to the owner. Got her for $10 because she's missing her sword. So if anybody out there has her sword, please let me know and everything, because she is a very rare character to find. And my friend Jeremy does the voice of her, the English dub voice. So yeah, I'm going to put a pencil in there and everything, or maybe something TARDIS related, because yeah, it's all she's missing is her sword, and I got her for $10. But it was fun. It's basically run every August, and it's this company right here and everything. So if you ever want to get in touch with them, go to Instagram, and they always give a promo code right before. Tickets are really cheap. They're under $20 when you get the code. And I recommend them because a lot of up-and-comers, even my friend Jen Silverman, voice actress for Yu-Gi-Oh! And everything, she's one of their attendees all the time, as well as many other voice actors I've met. A few of them are on hiatus right now because of other things, but it's a good convention, especially if you were starting out small with things. And I was hoping that maybe we can sneak the TARDIS in one day.
Fleshy TARDIS.
Mm-hmm.
But without further ado, I'm going to hit the button so we can start the Who Knew News. You ready?
Or do you want to mention Shirley's thing real quick? Or do you want to leave that?
Yeah, as part of the news. That's what we don't have a lot of news. We'll just do it as part of news.
Yeah. Okay. So also, guys, I wanted to let you know that Shirley met her goal.
Wait.
We gotta make it official.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, we got to make this official.
Yes, we do. Because even though the news of Who is the same old, and Nishidi doing his promoting stuff for his new stuff, we don't know if Billy is the Doctor or not the Doctor, and we still have not. I think land and sea has gone underwater. It is sunk. It is literally sunk because there is no mention of it whatsoever. But the only good news we have today is that Shirley met her goal. But here's the thing, because you guys were so adamant about donating. She has raised the goal now to $9,000. So they're looking for $9,000 to help support the Pandorica. I cannot do this. The Pandorica. And this may help a lot because then now they can probably get added supplies like extra filters, extra things they would need to keep the maintenance on these new equipments that they get and everything. And if you guys still want to donate, it's the same link, same everything. But right now she is at $7,440 raised. It was an anonymous donor with $20 2 days ago. 3 days ago was a donor named Nicholas Mocock. And then 4 days ago was Kimberly Lawson. So keep it up, guys, because, hey, what if she reaches 10K? She'll be able to be set and have everything ready so that they don't have to fall behind again. And like I said, they are accepting other donations too, like equipment or things. You can donate paint if you want to help them paint the kitchen, and everything. But guys, as best you can, help, because you guys went above and beyond, and now they can probably get more stuff they need. That way they're up to code for maybe more than the time frame that they said they were needing. But this is cool.
Hopefully it's paint that she needs, not just something we're just going to send random things.
You never know. Maybe it'll be pink to paint the Pandorica pink instead of blue, like a blue square.
She'll paint up Colin Baker's colors on her.
Oh, that would be cool on the wall.
I don't know. I'm trying to eat and I'm looking at Colin Baker's jacket.
You never know.
Yes, everybody, if you get a chance, you can just go straight to the PandoricaRestaurant.com. The GoFundMe link is on there. We also have the link I'll be posting in the chats. But if you just want to, first of all, just go over to the
it's one of those nights, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Just go with the web page because you can check out all the good stuff, all the pictures. You can check out the menu items that are on there. That's cool. I can't wait to go up there someday and check it out. But yeah, help Shirley out, and if you can contribute whatever you can to help her out. She hit her goal of 7,500, and now she's going to be moving up her stretch goal to 9,000, hopefully a little bit more to help her out and keep that restaurant going and keep everybody employed. So definitely, yeah.
And like I said, guys, I'm going to try my best to go see her since she's only a train ride away and stuff. And let's see, because I do want to try the chicken if she has any chicken there. Fish is a little iffy. But otherwise, it's been a crazy news day with no news.
Gotcha. All right. Well, if anybody else wants to contribute, we're going to be adding a couple items. Of course, thank you so much, everybody. Just a reminder that we have hit 70,000 YouTube subscribers.
Yep.
At this moment, I can't even explain to you what that means to us. I would like us to hit, there's a reason why I'm saying this date. I'm not going to announce it, but August 20th, I would love us to hit 75,000 subscribers. As of this moment, I'm pulling up on my phone. As of this moment, we are now up to 71,216. So we're not too far off from that course. But yeah, thank you everybody who's joined up with us. Whoever, for all of you, from the moment that we started on the YouTube channel. If you've been listening to us to the audios, like I said, we can't appreciate you more. And just that you took your finger and hit the subscribe button, that was good enough for us. Thank you so much for doing that for us. Also, we got more of our YouTube polls. Remember, you can take the poll out. That I didn't mean it that way. You can take the poll out of here. Yeah, you can take the poll over at our YouTube channel. We asked a couple questions. First of all, the reason why we're reviewing a Big Finish is the first one. Do you listen to Big Finish? And 59% of you said yes. 30% of you no, and 11% no because you don't know what it is. And just for those people who the 11% are listening, these are audio plays that are extended versions of Doctor Who. I mean, David Tennant has done something to expand his lifespan. Now they're doing the Ninth Doctor with Rose.
Mm-hmm.
So one of a Ninth Doctor Rose fan, there's more episodes coming out with them on audio. and as well as a plethora from the first Doctor to currently right now the 13th Doctor, now that Jodie Whittaker has signed up, and we will be reviewing Vampire Weekend during the Halloween because we think it's cool by then. And the other question that we have is was about the bliss patch from last week when we reviewed Gridlock, and Dave, 76% of them would take the
scary.
bliss patch.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to be that large. In fact, at one point, it was like 85% was like, dang. So a large number of you folks. What does this mean? There's a scene in Gridlock, if you haven't seen it. It's the 10th Doctor episode. And there's a scene with the what we call the patch girl, the bliss patch girl, who shows up to get her bliss patch so she can forget. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think she wants to forget her parents.
Yeah, because they were on the road for so long.
Yeah, so she wants to forget that time. And we were just talking about, is there a reason why anyone would take the bliss patch? I didn't get many comments, but Dave, what do you think? 76% of our audience would say they would take it. Wow.
The world is a crazy place right now.
That's true.
It doesn't necessarily surprise me.
Would you, besides picking your nose, Tom, would you take the patch? I'm going to
I had to watch last week's episode again and remember, I think I said yes. Yeah,
you did
I did
say
yes.
Sean, would you take the patch?
I think I said it would. I think I said I wouldn't, simply because of the responsibility I might need to carry out to try to alleviate some of the problems in the society. And yes, a lot of the audience, we were up to 86%, you said, and then the anti-patch lobby came in and funded the other part of the results, and now we're only down at 75. So I guess the people have spoken on that, but
yeah, I thought it was going to be probably more than the majority, but I didn't think it was going to be that large. And 18%.
That scares me. That means I already see where the world is going, and I'll be the one sitting there crocheting while everybody is running around like a chicken with their head cut off. Because what do we do? Because they want to forget how to do things.
Well, again,
That's
if you
scary.
want to help us take care of our polls, I'd like to keep going with this with questions that we were bringing up from episodes from the show that we'd like for you to contribute. And also, if you put in the reason why you made your decisions in the poll, we'll read them on the show out here. But yeah, this is interesting numbers. And one last thing, I forgot to mention this to you, Gadget, so I apologize. But this Saturday, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to be. We haven't gotten the details. If anybody's heard about this, it will be Doctor Who Podcast Day. Will be takes place every August 9th. And this is a tribute to anybody who's brought in a Doctor Who podcast. And I believe we haven't had the details, and I don't even know if it's happening as of yet because they haven't given us the complete details. But normally it is hosted by Dan Hadley. We have one podcast where he's the flagship podcast where he brings in the other podcasters just to have a discussion and talk about the future of Doctor Who and podcasting in general. So to anybody who is running a Doctor Who podcast, Timescales runs a podcast, right? He runs a Doctor Who podcast. So congratulations, Timescales, and to anybody who's doing a Doctor Who podcast out there, August the 9th is your day, your celebration. Flaunt it out there. Let people know that you have a podcast.
Christian, a Doctor Who podcast, that sounds like a really good idea. We should do that.
I think we should start one.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Maybe one day.
One day. How about we start the podcast with, I don't know, reviewing a Big Finish audio?
That's good. But let me go ahead and close up the news.
Boom, boom.
For Doctor Who podcast is we are reviewing the trial of the Valeyard. So.
Yay! So, same review process as always. 1 to 10 TARDISes. John, let's start with you. What do you give Trial of the Time Lord?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Yes.
You talking to me?
Fortunate to have my audio cut out right when you said my name. So it's like, like, well, there's a good chance
That's how it
Dave's
works.
not going to be talking to me. So yeah, I'll give it a 7. Out of
7.
10.
All right. And Gadget, what do you give it?
Confusing, but I don't know, because it felt short to me, so about a 6. Felt short.
6. Okay.
Yeah.
And Tom.
7.7.
7.7.
9,
6.2.
8. Apple.
8. Apple. I forget which key stroke gives me an apple sign.
Is there really one?
On a Mac, there usually is, yeah. It's a not random option key. Anywho, Christian, what do you give it?
Nice. I'm not going to be going last. I'm not going to be going first for once. So 8.5 and a 10. 8.5 and a 10. I'll explain the 10 part of it out there. And Rose Kirby, yes, thank you so much. Yeah, Dan Hadley runs the Type 40 Doctor Who podcast, and hopefully we will be getting that shortly. And Grant, I have no idea. I know he's doing his own podcast. I know he's busy as crazy, but I have no idea.
He is.
I know
Yeah,
he's doing his own thing. So
Always welcome back, but
exactly.
busy. So let's throw a curveball at today.
Oh no.
Start at the top and go down.
You're what?
We're gonna start at the highest number and work our way down.
Oh, shut it.
For no reason whatsoever, just because I feel it.
That's just rude.
That's kidding, Christian. We won't make you go first.
That's
Gadget,
rude.
you're a 6. We'll start at the bottom as is tradition.
Yes.
And that is you today, Gadget. Why did you give it a 6? What worked for you? What didn't?
Okay, first of all, like I said, the audio still throw me off a little bit. And this time I was able to get the, as they call it, closed captioning on my Google Netbook. The dyslexic can spell better than the damn thing, because I was so lost again, but I was figuring out the words as I was reading. It was reading and listening to them and stuff, because a lot of words I sent you guys was one page. I said, if you read closely what it thought it said, we can't put it on here. There was even more episodes. Like it broke it down into different episodes again for me, meaning like part 1, part 2, part like that. So that throws me off instead of it going smoothly through. But what got me was it was just a flip of the trial of a Time Lord, except I'm still trying to figure this out. Are they talking the 13th type of regen or the 13 after the first, meaning first?
They're talking
Good
about
question.
When they went to see this thing has changed with the Timeless Children, and
right?
Blah, blah, blah. What the original concept in Classic Who was a Time Lord has 13 lives, as the 8th Doctor mentioned. A Time Lord can regenerate 12 times.
Right.
Now, depending upon which storyline that you got, the consensus was you just basically died out, as in the Twin Dilemma. I forgot who was the character is, but he just died after his final regeneration, final self. I'll look it up in a minute. But the character died out. Now, the story goes into a little bit more that Time Lords can go on after the 13th life. However, they go completely
into the Matrix.
No, it glitches the Time Lord, because they're the chromosome that I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I can't think of the
because when I was trying to figure out, I was trying to figure out what they meant by the 13th that he came across, because when it started, at first I thought it was like, okay, they brought him back in, they're continuing the trial of the time, and then when I found out it was the Valeyard, I was like, okay, and they say about, there was the other, like this planet and everything that was named, and they even gave him the doctor's name, which was like, what was it? Veda Sigma. And I was like, okay, so that's interesting and stuff, that the doctor finally has a name, but is that really his name? But then you get the wacky that sounded like David Tennant.
Let me hold you right there, because that name is actually mentioned in Doctor Who in the Key to Time series. His friend Drax comes up and says Theta Sigma, which is his university name. That not determined yet as if it's part of his real name or anything, but according to Drax, that was his university name. So that's why it came up.
Oh, like if you get those nicknames in college. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, so that might be a hint also to his name. But it was funny because they wanted to when he figured out everything and he was like, okay, now I'm curious, I'm gonna go back and everything. He goes into the where he sees that thing that the Valeyard had described of where it was the tea container, it was this mad doctor, and I'm like, if they said that's the 13th life, who sounded like David Tennant, because the way it was like, I'm 13, like that. I was like, isn't that Jodie's doctor? But then isn't it the one after Jodie? Because then that makes sense to me, because then it would correlate with how messed up Tennant was as being the 14th, but really the 13th, and that makes sense and everything, why it would go mad. But then to find out that, spoiler, was the Valeyard in disguise, do Time Lords really go nuts? Or was this a ploy so that he could show up the whole, like, his old whack, like the way he is as the Doctor? I'm always one step ahead of you. You know, I'm not dumb. I'm not whatever. I'm just always like one step ahead, but I'm also not one step ahead of myself.
Well, you also have to think this is going off of classic Who. There was no timeless children. There was no unlimited lives. There was no crack in the universe. This was going based upon, and remember, for some people who are not familiar with the classic Who version of Trial of a Time Lord, which this is the spin-off to for audio, which I thought was a brilliant piece of work for Colin Baker. It really showcased these two. It was Michael Jayston, who played the Valeyard, and Colin Baker played the Sixth Doctor. Spoilers! We can just throw that in there, since the Valeyard is supposed to be a future amalgamation of the Doctor from his 13th life to his final regeneration. Now that has been moved. That goalpost has been moved, if it's even going to be revisited, because they mentioned the Valeyard in New Who, like the 11th Doctor from Richard E. Grant's character. I can't think of his name.
When he was the snowman thing?
Yeah. It was after the snowman thing. He was the Great Intelligence.
That's it, yeah.
Mentions it, and also the shadow of the Valeyard is mentioned in Twice Upon a Time.
That's what confused me, because I'm still used to the New Who with all the other stuff. But if you go based on what the Fox movie did with the 12 lives and everything, then it does make sense. But at the same time, did the Doctor really cheat time? You know, just to do this to show up the council and everything. It was interesting. It was funny because he, like they said, he dunked down into there was a vortex door and all this other stuff that they were talking about, but it was just more like curiosity. I saw it as more of a curiosity, like they weren't trying to make the Valeyard innocent or whatever. He tricked them into making him guilty because he already had planted the evidence, and it was, yeah. But what were the Time Lord Council hiding? That's the thing. Like, was it true that there really is no 12 lives? That's what I was looking at, because she was so paranoid on wanting to get that tea canister.
She meaning the Inquisitor.
Because they even said
there are no pictures from the audio, so you can tell the Time Lord stuff. But yeah, you get to see the characters as they were in
like for me, if I could see it as like a visual, it would probably be like a little understandable for me. Then I could see like the wackiness, like. See, his other lifetime reminded me of that professor from Shada. I think that's what it's right. Yeah. And everything, how he was a little wacky and everything. So that's what that reminded me of. And I'm thinking maybe that professor really was the Doctor and you know, and stuff like that. And then I thought maybe that was the callback to it. And it just threw me so off, because at the end, when the twist was revealed, I was like, that's boring. It's not exciting. You know, it's not like, oh, I thought it would have been more of a, it is the 13th life. It is the, you know what I mean? And we're going to watch that one escape, you know? Not that it turns into the Valeyard and then disappears and then we don't hear anything.
Spoiler.
Spoiler.
Killer.
But otherwise, I gave it a 6, because it was like like I said, the audios, I don't know if it's because of my dyslexia or it's because there's no visual, or it's just that because of knowing New Who more than I know Old Who because of my age and everything. I know some of you guys were able to watch it more than me because of age and television stuff. Here, I wasn't able to watch most of it, or it was all like out of order. So I'm all confused on that, you know?
Well, this is the toughest part about Trial of the Valeyard, because like I said, this was before all this nonsense, for a better term, came in with New Who, with Timeless Children, with Unlimited Lives, with the crack in the universe and stuff like that. This was kind of a set knowledge. Now with all that, when you go, that's my biggest concern. When people go from New Who back to Classic Who and they see all this stuff, they're like, "Wait a minute, what just happened? I thought it was this way." So, you know, we do have some, you know, to keep Doctor Who running. Of course, we're going to have to give them some lives, but one of the good things about, I'll explain it during my session. But
like they left the door open for it to be a many lives before we get to the Valeyard. So I'm thinking the Valeyard in my brain, if it explains to me, is that's when they end the series, meaning no more Doctor Who, no more anything. The Valeyard is the end of the series. Well,
it leaves interpretation open, because to me, it's not like the Timeless Children where it's just like, oh, okay, we have an explanation now and everything. I think this was done proper in a way to show that there was something going on behind the scenes with the Doctor, but it also leaves the interpretation open that this is all crap, you know, because
it's actually by generation, you know.
Don't get me started.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like especially when he thought it was the Master on trial, and I'm like, no, I don't remember them ever trying to catch the Master because he was always elusive in the Sixth Doctor's era.
Yes, Rose, to answer your question, yeah, it's isn't this the same as the Trial of the Time Lord? Is it totally different? The Trial of the Valeyard is, just to explain to folks who may not be familiar, it's kind of an audio sequel to Trial of the Time Lord. And it gives more flesh and story to not only the Valeyard and the relationship between the Sixth Doctor and the Valeyard, which develops into things, but also the Inquisitor gets a little bit of a character pull, which I liked, because in Trial of the Time Lord, she was just basically the referee to the two of them. But now she's gotten a little bit more of a story going on in there, and I'll explain that. But I gave it an 8.5, and there's a reason why. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, continue on. I'm just cutting away talking about
it. Because I really, like I said, it's hard for me with these audio CDs to understand. That's why I was able to pick up a little more once I was able to read it. But like I said, whatever this AI stuff is that's coming out now from Google and ChatGPT and everything, it's messing me up so bad, because I thought finally I could enjoy one of the audiobooks, and it just made me go like, I mean, there was like some words they came up with, like I said, we can't say on here for names and things, and the way it sounded to the computer. And I was like, did I just hear that right? And I had to rewind it and stuff. Like, so, but it really got interesting because I liked the conversation he had with himself when we thought it was the 13th incarnation of the Doctor. Mm-hmm. And then I'm wondering, maybe the Valeyard knows of the 13th incarnation. That is why the Valeyard was able to fool the Doctor and stuff, which is understandable because that is his future. But who would have been the 13th one? That's what's getting me. The tea container. The only one that I know of from watching all of this, if you want to go incorporate Old Who and New Who, would have been either, like I said, Jodie's character or David's character at that point, because they're both a little wacky at that time. And I didn't know if that was the regeneration starting to go down and stuff, because you see how hyper she was. You see how David's character was like back and forth also, like the starting of the superstitions and everything. You know, just things like that, like things they would do out of character for themselves. And that's what I thought it was at first. I'm like, maybe it's David Tennant's older self because of how he sounded and he was getting old. And then I was like, no, maybe it's the Professor. And that's really what the secret was, that the Professor was really the Doctor's. And then I know Shada wasn't what it was, but that was just weird that it was like similar of a character. but to have portal doors that I've never heard of, because even in classical, I've never heard of those portal doors. And also, like, he was so adamant about the tea container and all that. And I was just like, okay, fine and great and everything. But to have the whole military chase after you, they already know what the doctor's like. They already knew all this. So that's what I'm saying. It was just too short for me. It was like, I thought they would have elaborated more. Like, why the experiment and all that. And it was just something the Valeyard did for fun. Almost like what the master would do.
And yours was the lowest score, right, Gadget? I forgot. What was Dave? I think I might have missed Dave's score.
I have not given mine yet.
Oh.
I'll give mine.
Dave, what is it? What is it, Dave? What is
the host's prerogative?
Oh, okay.
You guys got it right.
Like we can't see each other, but we're still seeing each other.
Yeah.
How did you do that right on cue? That was perfect.
Right.
We're just
that's my 6 rating because like I said, it's the audios. I think I'm gonna have lower unless I find one that I can understand. You know.
Mm-hmm. Well, the next lowest
Dave,
was.
Did you want to hit
yes, let's hit commercial. You're right. Sorry, I apologize.
You guys mind if I do that before the? I'm sorry to ask you guys this. It's just for whatever reason, sometimes the commercial breaks are screwing up my streaming thing, and I'm afraid I'm going to come back and I'm not going to be there, and it's going to be time for my.
Sure. Go for it.
Is that okay, or do we have time?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, go.
Okay.
We can do whatever we want. It's our show.
Exactly. As long as I run them, that's all I care about.
Next time I will have that resolved. I noticed that it did that last time.
That's why I keep dropping out of mine because it does that.
Yeah. So, I gave it a 7, and for this one, I think the idea is very interesting. It's sort of a follow-up to the Trial of a Time Lord, which is a classic Who story that every Doctor Who fan should watch as a rite of passage if they like classic Who. I remember watching that back in college, and I was eating KFC, fried chicken, and mac and cheese, and just watching all 14 parts of a Trial of a Time Lord. And it's very, very long, but it's very goofy. But I think it's something that really can. It's a make or break, I think, for classic Who, probably for a lot of people. But when I saw that this was a follow-up to that, I was pretty excited about that. The voice performances are very good. Of course, we got some of the original cast back. It's great to have Colin back. And, of course, for those who care about this, when they're listening to this kind of thing, I think the sound mixing is pretty good. Yes. One of the problems I have with Big Finish a lot of the time is when people are taking a step, it's like, I'm going to run down this hallway. And you get the person going, and the step's like, tap, 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 tap. It's just like barely there.
You mean like this, right?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a footstep. It actually sounds like people are walking around. That's very well done as well. And the story is intriguing, sort of a reversal of Trial of a Time Lord. Last time you had the Doctor on trial and the Valeyard sort of being the antagonist. Now the Valeyard is on trial. The Doctor's defending him. And the Time Lady on the court is the one acting almost in the Valeyard's position this time. So that is all really intriguing and a lot of good setup. Whether the setup lands with a good punchline, I'll get back to that in a second, because here I have to give my first criticism, which is if you watch the Trial of a Time Lord, all 14 parts of that story work, I think, because one of the constants in that story is you get cutting back and forth between the courtroom, and then they look at this little screen and say, this is where the Doctor interfered on this planet. And usually when you interrupt the story on the planet is the Doctor going, absurd, or objection, or something like that. It happens so many times, as does the cliffhanger with them saying the Doctor is going to die, and you get zooming in on Colin Baker's face, and then you get the end credits. It is a little repetitive, but it's something that keeps the format fresh, because you're reminded that you're cutting back and forth between these two things, versus in the Big Finish story, for a lot of it, we were just stuck in the courtroom. We just were in the courtroom. You had the Doctor talking to the Valeyard, and you had all of the proceedings taking place, which started to drag a little bit. But then the story really started to pick up when the Valeyard starts talking about the backstory, and you get all the stuff with Razalon, and maybe this stuff was a lie. And in my opinion, in my very humble opinion, this is how you say that things were a lie. This is the way that you do that, not certain other ways that the show may or may not have done before. I was really starting to become intrigued by this, and I was thinking this might be an 8 or a 9. And it was great. But then They pulled the carpet out from under us. They gave us an ambiguous ending and said, maybe everything that the Valeyard said is just a bunch of BS. Maybe everything he said wasn't really true. And I'll say, you can make an ambiguous ending work. You can make that work if it serves a narrative purpose in the story. And the feeling it leaves you with is supposed to be reflective of maybe the feeling the main character has or something to that effect. Or maybe it's a morally ambiguous story, so you have an actually ambiguous ending. But the entire point of this thing was to put the Valeyard on trial, and in order for them to determine his guilt, they have to determine how the Valeyard came about. And a lot of that hinged on the story he was telling. And to say at the very end, oh, ha, 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 a lot of that might have been made up, or maybe it wasn't, and then to just end it, that really sort of left me very unsatisfied from a narrative standpoint. I really wanted there to be some sort of definitive answer. Is this something that the Valeyard made up, in which case we've kind of had our time wasted, but oh well, or is it not? I don't think this is the kind of story where you should be saying maybe, maybe not, when the entire crux of what was interesting about it was that. So it had a lot of good parts to it, very well mixed, very well acted, and I think a lot of the action scenes, even when they eventually come, are very well done as well. But because they did that at the end, it's a mixed bag, and I have to give it a 7.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And a 7 is not a bad score. It's a perfectly reasonable score.
I think it was pretty generous from how I felt at the end.
Yeah.
I wish it would have had a camera on my face to be like, oh no. They Shyamalan'd me. They did it again.
Yeah.
With a twist.
That's not like you gave it a 3.
Bad people.
No, I did not give it a 3. I don't think I've given anything a 3.
No, I don't think so either. So let's run with the commercials.
Yeah, and while we're on the commercial break, you can go ahead and vote now between 1 and 10. For those of you, I'm not. I don't know if a lot of you have heard this audio, but I would. We're gonna rate me eventually, but so I'm gonna say I would at least give this one listen. It is worthy of a listen. But for those of you who have heard Trial of the Valeyard, go ahead now, put your ratings in 1 through 10, and tell us why when we get back from the commercial breaks when we return. So please continue to stay logged on, tune in, as my friend Garrett said, and we will be right back.
Are you a movie nerd? Do you collect VHS, DVDs, CDs, records, and so much more? Are you looking for clothing from 1940s to 2000s? Do you need cosplay or themed outfits? Come to Ducky's Vintage. We have it all for all budgets, located at the Oviedo Mall right off of the 417. Ducky's Vintage for those born in the wrong decade.
I'm author Mark Muncy.
And I'm author Erica Lance.
And this is Eerie Travels.
Greetings, travelers. Join us as we travel through folklore, myths, monsters, legends, and dark history.
Now, we'll be your guide to the spooky side of reality as we discuss cryptids, paranormal, and all things preternatural.
Sometimes we find the truth is way scarier than fiction.
We're on twice a week on your favorite podcast platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, and YouTube.
We have amazing guests from all of the areas of the strange and unusual, including witnesses, investigators, and more.
Now, with Erica's curiosity and ridiculous array of pop culture and true crime knowledge.
And Mark's decades of experience diving into folklore and the legends with the truth that's behind them.
Yeah, so join us, travelers, as we take you to the edge of reality, and we'll see you on the other side.
I think as we've learned as we've learned also in just Bad Batch and how and other things how Palpatine everybody else is playing checkers and that man is playing chess and he is like 18 steps ahead of you. He already knew what your plan was. Oh, I've already got a strategy how to work my way out of this one.
I know, and I kind of feel bad
dropped
for him too, because I think he had this idea that, oh, this Anakin is going to be my big hope, and then he ends up being kind of a half cyborg, barely alive, back to tank for a long time. And I think Rogue One, that was one of my takeaways from Rogue One was I don't think everyone in the universe really has interacted with Darth Vader much. So I think he's kind of still on Mustafar, still recovering, still kind of in the shadows, and really only like Leia knew about him, obviously.
I didn't listen to that voicemail. I'll tear open that letter you sent. Don't you tell your friends I want you back. I gotta leave you now unread, because you've already said those words that switch my heart to dead from loving you. So you'll stay ghosted and I'll stay focused on sewing clothes. The spell stays unspoken, a dark silhouette of a mark man and broken. Right down, I didn't listen to that voicemail or TikTok that story you sent. Don't you reel me in to get me back. I'm gonna leave you now.
This is Sophie Aldred with The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Spoilers! We are back.
Spoiler alert!
Spoilers!
We are reviewing the Trial of the Time Lord today on The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Trial of the Valeyard. I've screwed that up quite a few times, so trust me, I understand.
Trial of the Valeyard.
Did I say that?
Follow up to Trial of the Time Lord.
This is why they love us, because we're real.
Real, yo.
No rehearsing.
All right. Meanwhile, Tom is playing Hamlet.
What? Oh, God.
For your I knew him, Horatio. A fellow of infinite jest and knows excellent fancy. He hath bowled me back 1,000 times over. Now, I can't remember the words anymore.
Oh, my God. It smells like burnt hating Christians.
Smells like popcorn to me.
Yes, I just want to say thank you for letting me throw that brief little commercial up there for Happiness Patrol. Episode 3 drops up on Thursdays, so
please check it out. Yeah, and you can see the classic series. You can see classic series. You can see the classic episodes of the Happiness Patrol, and just join up. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, and Dave, Melanie, Jessica, and others. You guys are doing Star Wars, right?
Yeah, season 1 is all about Star Wars. It's things that make us happy, and season 1 is Star Wars. So youtube.com/@Happiness Patrol Show, and check us out, please. We could use the subscribers, spread the word, share the videos out if you like them, and thank you in advance.
Yeah. And Melanie's over there. So everybody's been asking, where's Melanie? Where's Melanie? Where's Jessica? They're all over there. They're all over there now. They've all grown up, and now they're there.
We record once a month at a really weird time, and not even a consistent time. So I'm able to work around their schedule a little bit more than the live show is. So I'm very thankful to have Melanie and Jessica join me on Happiness Patrol, along with my cousin Cameron and friend Scott, who does a lot of my web work. And it's a great little team, and we've got from a bunch of people who didn't know each other to immediate chemistry. So I'm really, really happy with how it went and how it is going, because it's going to continue. So again, that's youtube.com/@Happiness Patrol Show. Come check out our previous videos. Episode 3 drops on Thursday. So you can check that out. Hit remind me when it goes live, and subscribe, like, share, all those things that we like you to do here on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. Do it for us at the Happiness Patrol Show as well.
And Dave, if you're going to be on the Happiness Patrol, sorry,
what was that, Sean?
If you're going to be on the Happiness Patrol, does someone get to play the harmonica and wear that cool hat?
You'll have to. You'll sort of. You'll have to show up to see exactly what musical instruments and or hats get worn.
Okay, all right, good deal.
That one's up there. That to me, let's see. This you're up here, Dave, and then you got Spill the Geek Tea that way. That's how it looks to me when I'm watching this thing. It's like
there's chopsticks.
We're all over the place.
They're hair chopsticks.
Yeah.
My other chopsticks are in the kitchen.
Chopsticks. I have no idea.
Speaking of chopsticks, Tom,
There we
you gave
go.
it a 7.7628 apple.
Apple. I ate all my apples. Let me just see
what
here. Is there what Rose said? She said, I kept thinking that the Valeyard had won. Hence, big question is, anyone come to defense Valeyard? The Valeyard chose the Doctor as the defense because they are the same person. So that gave that whole twist situation. Now, I bought the CD some time ago, which came out in 2013 with the cast of Colin Baker as the Doctor, Lynda Bellingham as Inquisitor, Michael Jayston as the Valeyard, but John Banks was the Hermit. So yes, listening to it back in the day, it did confuse me a bit. So I would have agreed with Gadget. Nothing struck me down. So
Well, it didn't freeze over. Otherwise, I'd be able to clean my apartment.
But listening to it again, thanks to Christian, because I don't have a CD player in my computer. And keeping in mind, you cannot include New Who in the situation. Even though it's 2013, you're still in the classic series. Try to remember, okay, the Valeyard was after the 12th regeneration and his final incarnation, something or other. So it was everything that was dark, sinister, like me, was that whole rage at the end. That's why the Hermit, the quote-unquote 13th Doctor, was driven mad and insane because he was at the end, and it's like knowing that this was his last incarnation, he was about to die, so everything just kind of pushed forward. That's what they're trying to get at. But then again, as mentioned, well, what about the Master? The Master was granted a set of regenerations during the 5 Doctors. So this whole concept of this is as much as I try to find canon and everything, and a lot of the Brits that I know, family and so forth, they don't listen to Big Finish. They do not incorporate Big Finish because it's not televised. I'm the type that will say, okay, if it fits between the books, between audios, between comic books, we try to fit it all together, that whole nice continuity. But it doesn't always work that way. And that's why when I first listened to this, it was like, it's very... So bringing in the Doctor as I'm guilty of it all, just so he can plant that thought in everyone's head that something was on that planet down below. And I was like, okay, well, the Doctor's going to do it. He's going to find out what this thing is. And everyone's following through to find out the Hermit was just... My phone doesn't vibrate that long. To throw in this, okay, the Doctor's dying, he's going mad. Oh, just another take off the mask of the Valeyard. And the device itself was going to just cause such a ruckus because that was the Valeyard's plan, to get back at the people that were going after him. But, he snuck away. So they tried to say, okay, this is going to be what we're going to find out. Did it happen? No, it spread out across the board even further. And whether we do touch upon this in the future, because I did not see it on Christian's list, and I have it. The 6th Doctor's Adventures, the final set of stories for the 6th Doctor, the last story, spoilers, does include the Valeyard. We have okay, this is how it goes, accept it or not, this is the ending. So, for those listening to this...
How we get the Paul McGann movie then with the 12 lives and the wormy master? That's how...
Gummy wormy master.
Yeah.
Now, the other Big Finish
goes
stories...
into like an earwig.
The other Big Finish stories do state what happened. The Master was granted lives, but he did not get them in the 5 Doctors, so he like I said, the Traken body deteriorated, so he went back to his decayed form. That's why we can bring back That's why we can bring back Jeffrey Beavers to do the audios and all these things. So we had the Alex McQueen, but then we're going to full master mode, and that's one of the other stories that we can talk about later for like the trilogy of master stories, which is I love those. Those are brilliant. So in the future we'll talk about that, Christian. You have one of them, Vampire of the Mind, I believe. But this
I'm promising to Dave because he loves the what do you call it? I keep screwing it up, Dave, but it's a March of the Masters or March March of
the Master.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, during March. So
yeah, definitely. I think unless something changes, we're going to probably do a whole slew of the Master Big Finish audios. Definitely. And you guys reviewed Eric Roberts, so I think we're definitely going to check out the Master in its entirety.
And he's got a new one coming out for Dark Gallifrey. So a new story with his master again, his master just confuses me to no end. But
our luck, somebody's going to make a new series of Doctor Who, throw it in March, and just screw that all up again. So it's just like great, thanks guys. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
So again, it was good. It's to listen to a second time. Say, okay, I understand it a little more than the first time. Going, what? And since, as we know through New Who, the 13th Doctor is actually Matt Smith's 11th Doctor because of all these things, but we did not have any recourse of the Time War. The Time War was never mentioned. There was wars here and there. There were even 9 different Gallifreys based on the old storytelling, so how could anything else occur then? But, they don't want to touch on history. They want to change history because isn't that what people do? They like to change history and do things, stuff like that. Oops. Anyway, so it was nice to bring back the crew because you listen to the commentary. They all had fun coming back again, revisiting this. It was too short. It could have been expanded, but then again, we have the ending for the Valeyard in the 6th Doctor's adventures. But in the New Who, it does mention the Valeyard because he's a Time Lord. He has done things from this point in time and caused ruckus here and there. So he does exist. The Shadow of the Valeyard, which ironically was a story title I had months before it was that. But like the Candyman said, we should have copyrighted some of our ideas because people are just taking that same thing off. With the Valeyard trying to plot an end to this council and everything else by having this little trinket here and there to go and then everything, that makes sense. That was the Valeyard does things like that. So it was a trap. The Valeyard set a trap and he goes off again. No, like nothing happened. But at least we know of the Valeyard. We know that he's somewhere in the future. It can be anywhere here and there. He was in an 8th Doctor story where he was the War Valeyard, for God's sakes. They brought back Michael one more time before. Unlike, no offense to the Fugitive Doctor, which we will have some Big Finish audio on her.
Mm-hmm.
I love Joe Martin, but like, what? That makes no sense to me. This at least made some sense to me. So I made it halfway at
7.7628 Apple.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really hate you.
Well, didn't Tent say that one time? Apple. I know he did.
/Apple /
something. Yeah, it was in there.
Yeah, it was a date mentioned, I believe, in the End of the World. No. Satellite 5. He mentioned something. The Earth year. No, it was the End of the World /Apples. And River Song does it again, where she also mentioned /Apples or something like that in the time.
Apples are good for you.
Personally, I think / Microsoft worked better, but anyway.
I disagree.
11 could take this. I'm not going to 11.
Well, the MacBook is a good Windows supporter. When you have a window open, you need something to pry into it.
So, anyways, we're getting off topic now, and we'll bring us back.
He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it.
Oh, I'm just skipping past it.
Okay.
Christian, you. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna read chats unless before. Oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
He's stalling.
But, Rose has a lot of questions I wanted to address.
Okay.
Let's go ahead. Just thinking, did any of you think at the end of the trial of Time Lord, the Doctor Who was over? Actually, there was one ending where they were going to end the series because Doctor Who was kind of teetering on possible cancellation. They already had canceled it once, and they brought it back as the trial of the Time Lord. There was actually going to be a new series, and they had the titles. You can find it on YouTube. They actually had titles. And one of the titles I'm still concerned about this day was, if I remember correctly, Tom, Yellow Fever and How to Cure It or something like that.
I've never looked at that.
Yeah, there was.
I remembered for the Seventh Doctor, they did the animated audio for Time Comes to an End. The end of the Seventh Doctor, so that was a interesting factor there.
And comes a time, or time comes to an end. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And comes a time,
but no, there was a whole series that ended up being the trial of the Time Lord. But before that, there were an actual series, and they were discussing that. One of them was, if anybody remembers, The Nightmare Fair, which ended up being an audiobook with Colin and Nicola.
But Magnus as well.
Exactly. And then there was Yellow Fever and How to Cure It. And it was like, yeah, we're going in a little bit of bad territory right there. We did. It's actually what you think. It's heading in that direction. I'm just like, okay, whatever. But again, that was a working title that may have if that series did come out, I'm hoping they may have changed it. But you know what? I don't care. I just really don't care. I'm just fine with that. I kept thinking the Valeyard had won. Well, technically, if you really think about it, yeah, he kind of did. Because he does end up in the end turning around being the key master, the keeper of the key to the Matrix. So technically,
he was the gatekeeper.
I forgot he was the keeper of the keeper of the Matrix.
Does that mean the Valeyard is Morpheus?
Oh, let's not go there because the Transformers want a stake in it as well. So I'm just like,
I mean, Darkwing Duck was a Transformer, and they ended up having to change that.
Oh my god! So yeah, it's Dave. I guess I can go. I'll just
All right.
go ahead.
You gave it an 8.5 and a 10.
I gave it an 8.5 and a 10, and I'm with Tom right there. So yeah. It's still one of my favorite audios. I bought the audio. That's how much I loved it.
I meant to ask the two of you. Does it have the words in there or no?
Nope.
The words in there? No,
like if you were to read along with it, like an audio book.
Like a transcript.
Oh, nothing like that. No, they don't have a transcript, but I'll give you, hopefully I don't get too much of a reflection, but there you go. There's the three of them. And unfortunately, we lost recently Michael Jayston. Lynda Bellingham we lost a while ago. I think she lost it to cancer, so the only one left is Colin. But there's Michael, handsome guy, really handsome guy. And I actually got to on another podcast interview him, and he's sweet. I mean, he was at the age when I interviewed him. You know how some guys get old enough they don't care whatever comes out of their mouth comes out. Oh, I love those. Yeah, he was one of them. So, but. Yeah, definitely gonna miss him. He was just a sweet guy when we interviewed him, and so yeah, technically Rose the Valeyard did win, or at least he escaped. They were thinking he was dead. A big question is, does anyone come to the defense of the Valeyard? Well, actually, yeah, unreluctantly, the Doctor in the episode, and the trial of the Time Lord, the Master speaks in the Doctor's defense. You could say that, yeah. He mentioned something. As far as this episode, I loved it because I love Trial of a Time Lord. I know it's not everybody's tastes, And especially I could see folks who've entered with New Who and come back and watch this episode, Trial of a Time Lord, they may have a hard time going in. And one of the things I appreciated about Trial of a Time Lord, and I'm speaking about that before I go into the Valeyard, because this was the first time ever where, as I mentioned, Doctor Who was actually being looked upon as being gone. The one of the endings that they had was the Sixth Doctor takes out the Valeyard, and he takes them out together, and that's the end of it by preventing the Valeyard. Luckily, they stuck with the ending that they had, which was they kept the Sixth Doctor going. But unfortunately, Colin Baker, depending upon which story you want to listen to and believe, Colin Baker was eventually fired from the show, and they replaced him with Sylvester McCoy. I know this is I just love the dynamic between Colin Baker, Lynda Bellingham, and Michael Jayston. I just loved watching the three of them, even in the courtroom. I was actually more interested in the courtroom than what was going on outside on Ravelox or what Syl was doing. I mean, I really was interested in these three because it was just a fun dynamic. So to see this actually redevelop in an audio form between the three of them, and the twist was that the Doctor is now, representing the Valeyard, which is the nice twist. It's just like, that is so cool. And especially if you liked, I love the beginning where the Doctor's like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm here, but I'm not leaving. I'm not coming in. All right, I'm coming in, but I'm not going to open the door. He's just like, okay, I'm not interested, but I don't care. I don't care what you do. And finally, he opens the door and goes inside, which I thought was a cool plot, especially when he was kind of zapped into when he was in the Trial of Time Lord, which was a cool effect. And I love Dominic Lynn's take on the theme. I'm probably one of 5 people who love that Trial of the Time Lord music theme. Having said that, where I think everybody else gave a negative that it was too short, I honestly think it was enough, because I do love the being a little bit ambiguous to say, okay, here's where I have a little bit of the try not to be so negative about this, but okay, never mind. You know what? This is why I have issues with bi-generation, the Timeless Children and everything, because I do follow the Cartmel master plan, whereas we do know the Doctor is important. We know the Doctor is more than just a Time Lord, but we're not following into that as of yet. And Trial of the Time Lord and Trial of the Valeyard skirted around that. We know that there's more to something, more to this of the Doctor than we know of. But that's the whole thing. As Andrew Cartmel said, the whole question is Doctor Who. That's the title of the show. And then once we get rid of who he is, or we acknowledge who he is, the show is over. He has to be ambiguous. He has to be, just out there in the ether. But we know that somewhere along the way, like in Silver Nemesis, we know he has an effect on Gallifrey. He's part of the history, but we don't say too much. We like it to be ambiguous. So that's why I kind of like I understand the ending short. Yeah, I did want more too. And it's like, what's this mudball planet? What's going on? But I do think the ambiguity. Thank you.
Rewind.
Yeah. What he said. I do like it because
ambiguity.
I wanted to keep it open. I wanted to keep it, I don't want it being defined as of yet. But it does leave a door open, as the Doctor said, where there's smoke, there's fire. So how do we know that Rassilon, stifled the Time Lords? He was the one that created, not that woman who was beating up on the Doctor and killing children every now and then. It was just like, it was.
What if that woman did go into regenerate into right?
Well, apparently she's the one that found regeneration, and just like, well, what happened to Rassilon? So
that's what I'm saying. Did she regenerate into Rassilon?
No, I think Rassilon is a whole different story, because Rassilon was a different person.
Okay.
I don't think the two are the same. I really don't. And that's why people are a little bit concerned about the mythos. It's just like, okay, so Tecteun, I think it was.
Tecteon.
Am I right, Dave?
Yep.
Tecteon was the character who discovered regeneration, but and here it was Rassilon, because we're still thinking classic series. We haven't gone over into that world as of yet, and it kind of borks what comes before it. I like when things are kind of linear and when they're explained, but it doesn't have to be completely explained, as the Doctor remains ambiguous. But I do think that there is a thing for canon, whereas it makes it a strong story point where it actually challenges the writers that said, yes, you have an IP, you have to write within it. Otherwise, it's a totally new show. It's not Doctor Who, it's something else, or it's a new revamp of Doctor Who. And I just like the way things were, man. I'm old school. I know things have to change and move on and all that, but I meant but we already had a great story behind the Doctor. It was already developed. I'm not exactly sure why we had to revamp it. And there's always that, ideology that he's gonna eventually come up across the Valeyard. I think the closest thing we saw was in the Flux when the 13th Doctor met that darker nature, or her mirror as Rose is saying, the mirror universe Doctor. And I just want to answer the question. I'm going to try to see if I can find it. She had a question if Doctor Who ever had a mirror universe. I wouldn't say like Star Trek mirror universe. It was Inferno, where the Doctor slipped into another universe, and technically the Brigadier, Liz Shaw, were kind of their mirror selves, their evil selves, for a better term, and how he had to deal with it. But
that's the best Doctor Who story, by the way.
I think it's one of the best. I think it's one of the best. And that's all I got to say about this audio. I listened to it again and again. And I loved it so much that I bought it. I love the banter between the three of them. And I do love the fleshing out of the Inquisitor at the end, because the Inquisitor was just the referee between the two of them in Trial of the Time Lord, and she just basically stayed in the courtroom. Now she's left the courtroom, and now we're getting to see that maybe Time Lords are interested in expanding that life, because they were totally locked into this 13th life. But yeah, what is that mindset when you've lived so long? Of all weird things, I'm reminded of the episode with David Ogden Stiers in Star Trek The Next Generation. And if you remember, I can't think of his character's name, Timon, where he's coming to the end of his life on his planet. And he's about to solve something. And he goes, if I just stay on the Enterprise and seek asylum, I can continue. I could probably figure this out and save my people. And the same thing with the 5 Doctors, where Barusa was trying to extend his life, and he thought that Rassilon had sought immortality, but it turned out to be a trap for people who were seeking immortality for Rassilon to curb him, which kind of does work into that premise that Rassilon may have been controlling the Time Lord and said, you get 13 lives. But in the end of the Twin Dilemma, the Doctor's friend dies after his 13th life. He just dies out. So, explain that to me. There's so many ways that this could go. And I just love that they skirted around the ethos, but did not define it. So where everybody else was a little bit like, it's too short, it's too open, they should explain this, I kind of like that they didn't, because I think that's the definitive of Doctor Who, that we don't know. We just get enough of the taste. We dabble into it a little bit, but then we're pulled away and like, no.
I actually agree with you on that, Christian, too. And to your point, too, is what you said about like, this was the way it was in classic Who. I'd like to point out, this is the way it was in most of modern Who with like Rassilon until season 12. So that's like the vast majority of Doctor Who. And then to change it and be like, what are you upset about? It's like, well, I was kind of getting into that story,
Right.
But
and it's just like, yeah, well, let's flesh out Rassilon a little bit more. Where is he at? He's supposed to be running around the universe right now.
Wasn't he in a tomb in the 5 Doctors?
Yes, because he was dead. He was dead in the tomb, but the tomb was a trap for his fellow Time Lords that were trying to find everlasting life. And Barusa, the president of the time, ended up, getting zapped into the tomb. Then they said, well, if you want immortality, here it is. Boom, you're forever here and locked into this tomb.
Yeah, and he was also in with Capaldi, right? Wasn't there another incarnation of Rassilon on Gallifrey?
Wasn't it not when Wilford knocked 3 times or 4 times?
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm talking about Heaven Sent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How many lives
have you regenerated?
How many lives did we give you? I've got all day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was that incarnation of Rassilon that took place after Timothy Dalton. And that's the one that ran away. That was the one that was kicked off the planet. When the 12th Doctor is just kicking you off your own planet. it's like, okay.
That was the old guy, right?
Yeah,
that was the old guy.
And that's when Capaldi's like, get off my planet. It's like one of my favorite Capaldi moments.
Yeah, exactly. He's just like, he just threw the president off his own planet and just get off. And he's convincing all the soldiers. They're all just walking right over to him. He's like,
oh, when they all miss? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what was it? The last thing that anybody saw, when fighting the Doctor or something like that, he's unarmed. And it's like, that's the worst time you can ever confront the Doctor is when he's unarmed. I'm like, yes, this is the stuff that I love about Doctor Who. This is kind of the thing where we know that he's important. We know that he has a reputation like the 11th Doctor had throughout the universe. And sometimes, like he did in the... God, I'm just talking. I'm sorry. And sometimes we did in on top of the Pandorica. He's it's my favorite scene of New Who. He's just standing on top of the Pandorica. And I always relate this to a poker game. He's got his cards laid out. He's got a 2-7. There's a royal flush forming on the table. And there they are, the Centaurans, the Daleks, everybody he's ever fought with their cards. And they know they have a winning hand. But he goes up to the table and goes, I have a 2-7 off, and I'm gonna screw you guys up. His reputation is his weapon, and he uses it brilliantly to take him down. He goes, let somebody else try first. They all fold. They all fold right in front of him. And he's going like, anybody could have just taken a shot and killed him. But they're too scared because they know what he can do. And when he's unarmed, that's when he's at his best. So... Sorry about talking forever, but that, yeah.
No.
All good.
It's your show.
I want to answer Billy's question that he just asked if the Doctor ever goes on vacation. Yes, the Doctor goes on vacation several times.
Yeah.
It never goes well.
Exactly.
No, never does.
Badly.
He tried to relax with the puns, and he couldn't sit still for long.
Yeah, exactly.
Orphan 52. That was supposed to be a vacation for them. No. Like never does it go well when the Doctor goes on vacation. In fact, it usually goes worse than what the average episode is when the Doctor goes on.
Midnight was supposed to be a vacation.
And look, like when he met the Oods, he has everything ready for vacation, and then they're like, "Your story is," and he's like, "What?"
But as for me,
yes,
I feel bad in what I'm giving it. I feel like I'm giving it an unfair rating. I give it a 6.
Ooh.
Partly because of when it came out. If this had come out a year earlier, 2 years earlier, 5 years earlier, I probably would have given it an 8. But this came out in the 50th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
We knew now, production times aside, and I don't know where it lands compared to the broadcast of the 50th anniversary and all of that. I don't know that. So giving it a fair bit of flex as far as production time goes. We knew Matt Smith was leaving. We knew we were coming up. We may or may not have known that the War Doctor existed and that was going to screw with the numbering even further. But we knew we were running up against this 12-13 regeneration issue. That was, everyone knew that. And to bring the story out at that time, I think was a mistake. because it's no matter what they tried to do with it, they were probably going to be proven wrong within, let's call it, a year. And I hate that for it. I did, like I said, if I go back and say this was well before the 50th, no one was thinking about the fact that regenerations, nobody knew there was going to be a war doctor, blah, 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 blah. I probably would give it an 8 because I really did. I like the length of it. I have no problem with the length of it. In fact, the fact that they left a little bit open-ended is a benefit given when they did bring it out, because then there was less for them to be proven as wrong. Because nothing's worth. They certainly wouldn't have known that the Eighth Doctor was going to bring in a bunch of Big Finish companions and canonize Big Finish the way they did in Night of the Doctor. It was really well done. I loved the banter between these three. It was really well done. There's about 15 minutes of special features at the end, and it's pointed out after 25 years plus of away from this episode, the three of them just hit the ground running, like nothing had ever ended. They just connected so well, and I don't like the Valeyard in general. I don't like the concept of the Valeyard. I actually like the Valeyard better in this than in Trial of the Time Lord, because part of what he says in this is, oh, you're a future incarnation of me. Am I? Am I really? Or did I just tell you that? And throwing that seed of doubt whether he actually is a future regeneration of the Doctor. And I really like that.
I thought he was just effing with him.
I'm sure he was.
He was totally, it's like, what are you doing? And just like, he stayed ambiguous so that, the Doctor had to figure it out. And then he would kind of push, if you heard the conversation, just tell me if I'm wrong about it. If you hear how he manipulates things, he kind of almost is like pushing the Doctor, like, well, go this direction. Oh no, no, and I was a poor child, and they finally caught me up. And he's just leaving things to interpretation, but we still don't know the actual truth.
Exactly, and I was going to say that as well. Like I said, that's what I like about it. It's not that he is or isn't. It's that he was messing with the Doctor, and maybe he is and maybe he isn't, and adding to the ambiguity.
Yeah,
rather than clearing things up, and I did like that. I also really liked how he manipulated the Doctor, because the Doctor comes into this going, "You're guilty. I don't care. Yeah, sure. Let me defend you, but I think you're guilty. I'm going to be very honest about that. I hate you. You're horrible. Go away. You're going to prison for life." And then by the end of it, of the trial part of it, he's straight up on the Valeyard's side of the line. No, you can't find him guilty. This is unacceptable. This is not fair. This is not true. And he went from completely opposite sides of the coin to the other over the course of not very long, because the Valeyard manipulated him that well, which I really did appreciate. One of the few things I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of, there was a bit where they've recently changed one of the laws. Oh, when was that? Doesn't matter. No, it matters. Okay, fine. Pull out the record of this, and the record is dated centuries earlier, not recently by any.
I thought that was a cool device. I was like, oh wow,
yeah. The fact that he could pull that out, and it's like, did the Time Lords really just go and change time? Change the law, their own laws, centuries earlier, knowingly, and then just oops and let that slip? Because that's really what it felt like. And I really did enjoy it. It's a really good thing, which is why I think I'm giving it an unfair when I say 6, and I think 8 is probably more fair. So I'm going to pull a Christian and say a 6 and an 8.
Well, the reason why I say I didn't explain it, but I was just like, the reason why I would give it a 10, I think this is the perfect, if you love Trial of the Time Lord, this is the perfect sequel. I don't know how it could get any better for me, in my opinion. I mean, after I heard it, it's like, my God, the writers kept with their characters, and it's like the thing that I hate and love the most about it was at the very beginning when the doctor is deciding whether he wants to go into the room or not, and he's like, okay, I'm not going in. Well, I guess I'm going in, but I'm not participating in anything. And after a while, after he's done bloviating, which after a while I thought it was just too much, but that's the way the Sixth Doctor's built. That he just keeps going on and on and on and on, and it's just like, and then the Inquisitor goes, "You're not on trial, dude. This is not you." He goes, "Oh, okay, I'm not on trial."
I had the same reaction.
Give me some ice cream. Let me watch this thing.
Ice cream.
I had the same reaction you guys did too, because I'm a big Trial fan, and I was you can just picture it, can't you? If you watch Trial of the Time Lord, you can picture the halls and everything. I'm like, this is the same set in my mind, but like in 4K. So I'm like watching Trial of the Time Lord in 4K now, and it's the sequel.
Yeah.
Felt like you guys picked it for me.
Imagine if they did do an updated version of that trial room. It'd probably have all digital equipment, hovering screens, everything, you name it.
And big hats.
Exactly. And robes that go to the floor, I think what the Sixth Doctor said, or something about the robes he was making fun of.
Oh, and we didn't even talk about the Doctor calling him the boatyard and the barnyard.
Yeah. There's so much great work here. In our behind the scenes chat, Tom mentioned this was released to the public December of 2014, so it would have been the end of the 50th anniversary. So we would have known about all of these things that have now come out. Again, still giving some flex for production times. But that really makes it even harsher as far as I think this is a terrible timing to have released this. It's like opening a can of worms compared to what was happening at the time.
But Dave,
no, that's kind of my. Sorry, go ahead, Sean.
Could that be like an alternate universe though? Because not in canon, but I just at that point, since it's already out there, it almost seems less egregious to me, because I'm like, well, I know this isn't actually canon, but let's have fun with it. But you don't see it that way. You see it differently than that.
I can certainly. I can be convinced of that, definitely. I mean, Big Finish is not canon. As much as we would like it to be, as much as little cracks of Big Finish have made their way into the show and into other medias, it is by definition not canon. And I have, that's fair to say, let's just have fun with it. It just kind of irked me. And I said, maybe it was not fair that it irked me, but it did. So that's kind of where I was coming with that.
It's fair. It's your review, dude.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm fully up to being convinced otherwise. Maybe not today because we're running on 90 minutes now. So, but I'm not. I'm definitely malleable as far as to what my rating could be on this, because it is worth listening to. Definitely, if you've seen Trial of the Time Lord, 110%, you should go track down Trial of Valeyard and give it a listen.
I know we're running low on time, but I wanted to make one very small point. Do you guys mind if I say just one thing?
Yeah.
So
okay, you're done.
Absurd. Yeah, no.
That was it.
You guys were talking about the ambiguity, and part of my problem with to kind of relate it and then bring it back. Like, part of my problem with the Timeless Children was not that they revealed too much, but just that they got rid of so much of the canon. Because for me, when people say things like, and I know this isn't your quote, Christian, but when people say things like, you can't ever say who the Doctor is, it's like, okay, if you tell me that you're never going to tell me something, that's not interesting. A mystery is only interesting if you know that there's a possibility that it's going to be revealed to you. So over the years, having little bits and pieces of the Doctor, like maybe every 5 years we get something big, right? And presumably you can keep digging in that well and not reveal everything. But if you think about how much more we know about the Doctor in the beginning of Doctor Who season 12, before the Timeless Children thing, compared to the beginning of the show, we knew so much. And so to me, like, that's why I'm more harsh on ambiguous endings. It's like, don't ask the question if you're not going to give the answer. Like that's kind of how I feel about mysteries, because it's like, isn't it interesting that it's a mystery? Well, no, because now it's over and there's no answer. So how is that? I've always felt that way about ambiguous endings. I've always felt that way about the show being mysterious. It's only interesting if you know that there's a possibility you're going to get some answers. If not, then that's just you telling me, isn't this cake tasty that you're never going to get to eat? And it's like, no. So that's just how I feel about that.
That's a very fair assumption, but I just want to say I want to give the counter to that, because I remember a while back when Moffat was putting out an episode, The Name of the Doctor, and they were hinting that they were going to give the Doctor's name. Do you know how many Whovians went completely ape and said, do not give the Doctor's name?
Right. Well, I mean, that's an answer you shouldn't give, though, right? Like, that's something you shouldn't give.
Right. But I mean, like, they were bringing it out, and like
you know, maybe that's a new poll question. Do you know what the Doctor's name could be by all the hints in the show?
Jeff.
Jeff.
My name is Jeff.
Or John Smith. But I think that's just the whole series. The whole series is the question. And yes, I know the curtain's moving. My dog's in the room. So
right, but I just think
the
it's
whole series.
Sorry.
No, I agree with you. Every 5 years they can go in there and just say, "Oh, okay," like Silver Nemesis. That was the 25th anniversary, and they had a little bit of a discussion with that. And then but it was just okay. We know the Doctor was important. He built this thing to protect Gallifrey, and now people are coming after it. But the Doctor's been in control the whole time, so it's the hardest thing to go on when you're coming up to this point in a show that's now spanning 60 some odd years and 15 16 actors into it. How do you what direction do you go from? And Moffat, I thought, did a good job. I thought RTD in the beginning did a good job. I thought Chibnall did pro, and it's not supposed to be easy. It's not for the faint of heart. This is something that if you're going to pick up this IP, you better be knowing what you're doing. You better have some kind of thought process to the lore, because everybody's sticking to it in some form or fashion. And when you take anything, any story that has an original IP and you start messing with it, you're going to have to deal with people who have invested blood, sweat, tears, money, time into it. And if you're going to move forward, you're going to have to bring everybody, not only the new parts, the new audience, but the old audience as well. And they have to be interested in what's going on.
Yeah, like it wasn't like creating a new mystery to me. It was like taking it was like Star Wars erasing all of the expanded universe when they came out with the new movies. It's like I didn't like that, and I didn't like it. But not everyone agrees with me, and that's okay. But it's a very strong opinion I have. But it's we're on a panel with lots of different opinions. That's fine.
That's fine. But I get what you're saying. It's just like, but it's one thing to say, you know what, there was this lore and we just ignored it. It's another thing to say, we don't know what you're talking about, and you know who I'm talking about, KK. It's just like, yeah, it's been sitting in the closet. You just had to open up the door, and it's there. So,
Yep.
So, and on that note, why don't we take a look at what some of the comments had to say?
Comments over there. There's pre-visit, just like who is your favorite Doctor Who? Tom Baker, just shout it out. We've done it a billion times.
Yep.
Everybody shout out your favorite Doctor Who. I say 4th Doctor, Tom Baker.
4 and 10.
7 and 11.
And my favorite.
You can have a Slurpee there, Dave.
Yep.
Sean, who's your favorites?
3 and 12. And if you combine them, then it's the 15th Doctor. So the 15th Doctor.
There you go.
I can get down, but I can get down with that.
Gotcha. Tom?
2, 12. I love Jodie. Not saying I love her doctor. I love Jodie.
Oh, Garbage. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate it. Thank you. Has Doctor Who ever done that? Yeah, that was the question I was looking for, the Mirror Universe. Yeah, Inferno is the only one I can think of. I'm sure the books, the comics, or something happened out there, but with the TV series, I think it was only Inferno, and maybe if you want to count the War Games, kind of, but I don't. The time scale says Trial of the Valeyard is 8.6 to 10 on the time scales with a 96 rating, and reviews rather high. Yeah. Oh, Oh, thank you, timescales. I actually thought the Doctor in 1985 and 86. Yeah, again, they were looking at canceling the series, and luckily they just kept it going there. Has the Doctor ever gone to trial for what a different version of the Doctor may have done? Billy, that actually sounds like a great idea for an episode.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. There
I mean,
was a little bit of that. That opened up a little bit with the fugitive Doctor and Jodie, and that you're clearly guilty because this other you is guilty.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Has the Doctor ever gone to trial for a different version of the Doctor may have done? So, like if the fourth Doctor was protecting the 11th Doctor for something he did, and the fourth Doctor was that would be an interesting concept out there.
That really would. That'd be a great multi-Doctor story as well. I mean, this kind of was a multi-Doctor story, but the proper multi-Doctor story with 2 numbered Doctors, that'd be great.
And they wouldn't have to go anywhere. They can do it in the courtroom. Is the Valeyard more like the Master? Oh, wait. Is the Valeyard more like the Master and not the Doctor? I know the Valeyard is the Doctor. That's the thing. But I would not say the Valeyard's more like the Master at all, because it's not. If you're talking about Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty, the Doctor's not Moriarty, it's Sherlock Holmes, but Sherlock Holmes turned evil.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
And Moriarty and the Master are very similar in that Moriarty never really hides who he is. Moriarty is always Moriarty.
Yeah.
Almost always. Whereas the Master is always the Master and will never hide himself from being the Master for very long.
Moriarty needs to pull off a mask.
Yeah. That's half their fun, both of them. It's half the fun is unmasking themselves and showing, haha, I was smarter than you, arch nemesis.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Holmes.
Yep. Timescales, I agree. Fourth Doctor forever. Live long. I hope he outlives me too.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, you want to wrap up the show?
Yeah. So, Gadget, where can we find you kind of going forward?
Well, Anime NYC in about 2 weeks, and New York Comic Con in October, as well as maybe here and there if you catch me in the areas of the Bronx and everything. Also, Lulu.com for my books, because the only way I can probably afford things right now and stuff. But like I said, I'm still working on the other ones for this. It's just on hiatus right now. But please, guys, pick these up. They're at Lulu.com. Still trying to figure out how they messed up the European one when I fixed it. And otherwise, I had fun. Thank you again for Bronx Anime and Comic Expo. I hope to come back again next year. Hopefully that we get our own table with the TARDIS and we can have people join and get us up to 100,000. Who knows?
I hope we'll be at 100,000 well before that.
Never know. Maybe 200,000. How about
Maybe
that?
200,000. There we go.
Yep.
Tom, where can we find you?
2 weeks, you'll find me in Orlando. Maybe not. So, catch me on Spill the Geek Tea Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Sometimes Dave, Mark, Candyman has got to take control of Sunday's episode. And the timescales will be there as well. Catch me on my other stuff too, at the Reverend Amagon, YouTube, at Spill the Geek Tea 1, YouTube. Because we're running out of time.
And Sean, where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube at Our Philosophy Is. If you want to see some ranty philosophical content with occasional Doctor Who stuff sprinkled in there, I'll be doing that. If you want to talk about geeky stuff in a queer-friendly space, as I always say, you can head over there if any of that sounds good to you.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And of course, as for me, you can always find me on the Happiness Patrol. As soon as there we go. Now, Happiness Patrol, youtube.com.
I like that back up there.
That's no one wants to see this face. I get it. youtube.com/@Happiness Patrol Show. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, dropping Thursday night. It is Tuesday night right now. You can check out the back episodes right now. And please subscribe, share it. Let's try and get us up to, let's get that first 100. Let's start. We're not, we're trying to do this as organically as we can. So definitely please, consider giving that a subscribe. You can also find me on my channel, youtube.com/theratHole, DOTCA. I was just streaming 2 weekends ago from RPGathon. In another 2 weeks, I'll be at FalCon 38 in Calgary, and I'll be streaming a bunch of stuff from there. So check that out. Just hit the bell so you always know when I'm coming up. And of course, Spill the Geek Tea. Most Sundays I'm there.
Yes.
And of course, right here on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS.
Of course.
Christian,
Yeah.
where are we going to be?
Well, where we're going to be is, first off, Ancient City Con. This is going to be taking place September 12th to the 14th, the World Golf Village Renaissance Resort in St. Augustine, Florida. Dalek builders are going to be out there. Don't forget to get your tickets in your room, because at the Renaissance Resort, if you want to stay where all the action is, down the stairs at the lobby, you can check it out. You can see it's that big, folks. A lot of people that are coming out over there. If you have a special geekdom and also geeking that's outside of Doctor Who, you're more than welcome to come and check everything out there. Again, the Dalek Builders and the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS will be out there. We'll have a booth. And speaking of which, we can happily say this now. Oh, I didn't flip. There we go. We're also going to be the Daleks of Florida, and the Traveling TARDIS will be at Makers Fair. Again, the 13th Annual Makers Fair in Orlando, November 8th and the 9th, over at the Central Florida Fairgrounds. You can get your tickets out over there. The Daleks will be invading the area. This is a really cool area for kids, especially if they wanted to ever get into robotics and things like that. This is the best place to go, and this is also the best place if you're not going to be in Ancient City. If you want to talk to the Dalek builders, they'll have the Daleks out there. They'll break them down for you. They'll break them down anywhere, but they'll open up the Daleks so you can see the inside and see how everything works and how it functions. And if you want to become a Dalek builder yourself. So again, Makers Fair Orlando, November 8th and the 9th. That is confirmed. We'll be with the builders, the Daleks of Florida out there. And thank you again for everyone. 70,000, and we are now climbing up to 71. And don't forget, if you just want to celebrate, go over to the Doctor Who Podcast Facebook page. We still don't know what we're going to be doing, if we're going to be doing anything, but just celebrate August 9th. Go check out your favorite Doctor Who podcast, or find some other new ones like Type 40, like Rabbi from Another Planet. Or just find another random podcast that talks about Doctor Who out there. Yeah, exactly. Sorry. There are tons of them out there, and definitely you want to check them out. We'll be hopefully be a part of that on August 9th, and we'll be posting some stuff up on our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. So from all of us here at the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, thank you for joining us. Until the next adventure, do not forget to say goodnight to Simon. And without further ado, Tony, you know what to do. Take us out.